Hey, it is Smooth Tim and Larry E, and welcome to another happy hump day on Tim's Tid-Bits. How you doing, Larry?
Hey, humping test.
That's what I'm thinking.
They show ain't never on time.
I'm saying,
this is real.
I'm like, it's not that happy for Larry when he hits that Dallas traffic, and he's like, man.
Oh my God. How can you be 30 minutes away from where you're supposed to be, and it take you almost an hour?
Isn't that insane?
An hour, bro.
And how many lanes you got? Let's see here. There's like four, and then you got the express. So you've got like 10 lanes, right?
Yeah. And then the worst part is people can't drive at all. And then it'll be slow. All of a sudden, speed up. I'm 30 minutes away. It takes an hour. That's ridiculous. Okay.
A little bit beyond ridiculous, but hey, that's just life in Dallas.
And it seemed to be every Wednesday. I was okay yesterday and Monday, and every Wednesday it never fails.
Something's gonna happen.
Man, that's why they call it hump day, I guess.
That's what it's all about. You get over the hump and you're just so much happier. You're glad to be home on the Wednesday, relax, crack a beer, watch whatever garbage might be on TV. It's all good though. Anyhow, what are we gonna be talking about tonight? Oh, disappearing donations. I don't know if you remember. But when Donnie D took office, he said he was going to donate his $400,000 a year salary as president to charity, right? So some people tried to catch up with that, and hey, let's see what they found out, man. We'll come back and check it out.
During last year's campaign, Donald Trump made a very clear promise about what he would do, if he won, with a $400,000 a year that a president is paid in salary.
If I'm elected president, I'm accepting no salary, okay? That's not a big deal for me, but I don't even know what it is. Do you know what the salary is?
But it turns out that the Constitution won't actually allow Trump to work for free. A spokeswoman said instead that Trump intends to donate the money to charity or perhaps to the U.S. Treasury. So far, President Trump has been paid about $66,000. But he hasn't actually given it away. He hasn't given any of it away. Instead, President Trump has been accepting his salary after all. According to the White House, the president still intends to give this money away to charity at the end of the year. But he hasn't actually chosen the charity yet, and he asked for our help in picking it.
The way that we can avoid scrutiny is to let the press corps determine where it should go. He will, in all seriousness, I think his view is he made a pledge to the American people. He wants to donate it to charity, and he'd love your help to determine where it should go.
Making big promises to donate money to charity is nothing new for President Trump. Last year, I spent months cataloging his past promises to donate money, some of which were made when he was a private businessman, some of which were made when he was a Republican candidate for president. What I found was that Trump had actually a pretty poor record of following through on those promises. For one thing, Trump said he would give $1 million to veterans during a fundraiser in Iowa last January.
Donald Trump gave $1 million, okay?
Later, when I asked, his campaign manager told me that Trump had actually already given that money away. That was false. In fact, Trump didn't actually give the money away until later, after I began checking to see if Corey Lewandowski's account was true.
Everyone say, who got it, who got it, who got it? And you make me look very bad. I have never received such bad publicity for doing such a good job.
Later, I ended up spending months calling 450 charities, right here, to see if they'd received any of the millions that Trump had said he'd been giving away over a period of many years. Between 2008 and 2015, what I found was just one gift from Trump's own pocket, and that was for less than $10,000. This year, we're going to be tracking that promise that President Trump made to donate his salary to charity. We'll get back to you every month this year to tell you what we know and what we don't know. And we'll also be tracking other promises that Trump's company and Trump's presidential inaugural committee have also made to donate money they took in. For now, we've asked the White House how exactly the press might submit suggestions about the charities President Trump should give his salary to. Their answer? Just call the White House press office and make the suggestion that way. The spokeswoman told me, quote, "We have not set up anything formal, but you all certainly know how to get a hold of us."
I'm full of shit.
I mean, that's just horrible to sit there and make campaign promises. I know they stretch the truth a little bit, but to sit there and say in front of a bunch of veterans, you know, I'm donated $1 million and you really don't even donate a damn dime. That's just horrible. That's horrible.
That's the only good thing he did as a politician.
What,
That
lie?
he did close to being a politician. A lie.
And no, that's probably why that he's all worried that they're getting into his tax records and all that other stuff because, yeah,
he did that just to get votes. That's why he did it.
Oh, that's what it's all about. He just tells somebody what they want to hear when he's there. You know, when he's on the opposite side of the fence, he's, what do you call that? Speaking out of both sides of your mouth. So, you know.
Yeah, so he's typical. That is politicianish, so I give him that.
Yeah, but yeah,
I'm not even surprised.
Neither am I.
I thought you were going to say he actually did give the money. I'm like, damn. Huh?
No. This guy, I mean, I'm trying to sit there and think what it was insane that because they ended up having to pay like him and Melania, like each of them was under $1,000 they had to pay in for income taxes. That was last year. So they paid me up between the two of them, filing individually and with all the different deductions and everything else that they can inventively come up with that we can't. Yeah. So yeah, look it up. I wouldn't lie to you. Anyhow, hey, you know what? In Texas. I think it's Amarillo. Have you followed this on the news about the abortion pill and the federal judge that's overhearing this particular debate about the legality of this abortion pill? And this abortion pill has been around for 40 years. But now, apparently, you know, you get these right to life activists, and it's getting to be an issue.
We're developing story getting some attention across the country. The abortion debate, it is ramping up in Amarillo tonight, where a U.S. district judge is presiding over a lawsuit to stop the sale of an abortion pill. This debate has gained so much attention. The judge deciding this case says he has received death threats. KPRC2 investigator Bill Spencer has been following this case, and he's breaking down why this case could affect women all across the United States. Bill?
Yes, Danielle, the drug in this case is called mifepristone, an abortion pill that was approved by the FDA back in 2000. But this lawsuit claims that the drug is unsafe, that the FDA rushed it into approval.
I believe that we will win. Nowhere in the United States is the issue of medical abortion more in focus than Amarillo, Texas, right now. This is where U.S. District Court Judge Matthew Kaczmarek is deciding whether the abortion pill Mifeprex or mifepristone should continue to be allowed to be sold to women.
And the heart of this case actually is that the FDA skipped many of its normal safeguards that it would use in approving any drug.
Kimberly Schwartz with the pro-life group Texas Right to Life says a group of anti-abortion doctors and medical associations are suing the FDA to block the use of this drug because it's dangerous and has caused serious complications for many women.
This abortion pill is killing countless unborn children. And not only that, but it's also dangerous for women. And you see adverse complications in 1 in 5 women.
And according to KPRC2 legal analyst Brian Weiss, what Judge Kaczmarek decides in this case will affect women not just in Texas, but all over the country.
Could this make it impossible for women all across the country to get this abortion pill?
In the short run, absolutely. If Judge Kaczmarek ultimately decides that the FDA didn't adequately test this drug, he can decide that a stay will be issued.
But pro-abortion advocates and abortion physicians like Dr. Sabrina Floyd say the abortion pill, first approved in 2000, is safe and the complication rate extremely low.
It's not dangerous at all. The evidence is solid. The science is solid. The complication rate is less than 1%.
And just a short time ago, we got this statement from Planned Parenthood. It reads, in totality, over 5 million people in this country have been able to make their own private medical decisions and safely used mifepristone to end a pregnancy or manage an early pregnancy loss or miscarriage. And that is signed by Dr. Blavik Kumar, Planned Parenthood, Gulf Coast.
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I'm like, if it's not safe, see, we kind of had that discussion. I think one
but it's,
show.
but it's been around
safe?
for a minute. That the debate is it's been around. I think for 40 years they've applied it to abortion for 20 years. And go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No. You good? Go ahead.
And my thought line of it isn't, and apparently this, how do you take an action? Who's being harmed by the pill? I mean, doesn't there have to be harm to have a suit like this presented?
Yeah, you know what it is. It's all about the abortion thing.
That's what I'm saying. First off, where's the harm? How are they even presenting this case to begin with in front of this judge?
Yeah, it's like
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it may well be a drug that needs further testing, this and that.
But what drug doesn't need testing? What drugs don't have side effects? High blood pressure medicine has side effects, which is probably used by millions of Americans. They have side effects. Medicines for all kinds of things. Usually a lot of these medicines you take are bad for your liver, so you can't drink while you take the medicine. All kinds of stuff has side effects. Radiation has side effects. Everything has side effects. So what makes this pill so unsafe? The fact that it's so unsafe is because it's attached to the abortion issue that's going around America. It ain't the pill.
Okay,
they just nitpicking.
Let me propound this question to you. Okay, so they say that the FDA was negligent in the way that they expedited the process of approving this drug. Okay, so let's say the judge says, you're right, blam, this. Now, what other medicines on the market will people go after saying that, the FDA didn't do its due diligence in making sure this drug was safe? Does that make sense?
Yeah, for one thing, it took them 40 years to figure this out, which it doesn't even matter no more. It took them 40 years to say the drug ain't safe. So the statute of limitation, it should be well over with. Now, if they're going to say that, what about these COVID shots? What about all these other shots they just rushed people to take and they had all these side effects? When I took my COVID shot, I felt like I was going to die. I felt worse.
Now they'll call you a conspiracy theorist if you sit there and say anything.
They only saying it because it's attached to the abortion law, and abortion is a big thing right now. It's all a bunch of bullshit. They always try to find something small to mess with somebody with. What can we find to say that this pill is no good? But the pill has been used for 40-something years, and all of a sudden they're saying it's no good. So that's bad on the behalf of the people just finding it out 40 years later.
Well, I believe the ramifications of a judge ruling on something like this are far beyond just the abortion pill. That's just my thoughts.
No, I agree with you because that means that this I know about Texas, not Texas.
No, you may as well put them out of business then if they're that stupid.
Yeah. Let's look at law in general. It's called a precedence, whatever. Say this a law, a federal judge or whatever judge said, okay, this is the standard. Now, all the other cases are going to be
by that precedence.
Off of that precedence, that case. Am I right?
Yes.
So now, when you start going to different states, Texas did it. Okay, now let's do it. Since they did it, these are the reasons why they did it. So we're gonna follow the reasons. It's like a domino effect. Am I correct?
All right. That's my thought. That's why I wanted to kind of bring this particular little news item up. Not necessarily that it's just the abortion pill and that they are infringing on people's rights. Maybe, maybe not.
Always infringing on our rights.
By saying that, if a woman wants an abortion, she wants to take the abortion pill, that what's the harm?
But it's going to take some weak-minded individuals that already been using the pill, that the pill has been around 40 years. It's going to take some weak-minded individuals to jump on the bandwagon. Then here we go again.
Right. That's just my thoughts. Just food for thought. I'd like to know what the viewers think about all that. You know what I'm saying?
It's too late now. Take the pill, shit.
Too late, Dad. Take the damn pill. Anyhow, let's move on a little bit. Back in, it was, let me look at my little notes. 1944, Franklin Delano Roosevelt gave a speech, and it had to do with a second Bill of Rights. And that would include, your income, your health care, education, kind of the same thing that Bernie talks about. So check it out and let's look at this comparison. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at how relevant it still is today.
In our day, certain economic truths have become accepted as self-evident. A second Bill of Rights, under which a new basis of security and prosperity can be established for all, regardless of station or race or creed. Among these are the right to a useful and remunerative job.
I've introduced a $1 trillion piece of legislation that will go a long way to rebuild our crumbling roads, bridges, airports, water systems, and by the way, support the creation of 13 million decent-paying jobs.
The right to earn enough to provide adequate food and clothing and recreation.
The $7.25 minimum wage is a starvation wage. We need to raise it over a period of years to $15 an hour. Nobody working 40 hours a week in this country should live in poverty.
The right of every businessman, large and small, to trade in an atmosphere of freedom, freedom from unfair competition and domination by monopolies at home or abroad.
The 6 largest financial institutions have assets of almost 60% of our GDP. It's time to break up the large Wall Street banks. We need to fundamentally transform our trade policies. They are not working. Corporate America is going to have to start investing in the United States, not in China.
The right to adequate medical care and the opportunity to achieve and enjoy good health.
The United States remains the only major country on earth without a national health care program, and yet we spend almost twice as much per capita. It is time for America to guarantee health care to every man, woman, and child as a right of citizenship.
The right to adequate protection from the economic fears of old age, sickness, accident, and unemployment.
Some of my colleagues in Congress are working day and night to try to cut Social Security, cut Medicare, cut Medicaid. Needless to say, I strongly disagree.
The right to a good education.
Millions of our young people are graduating school deeply in debt, and many others cannot afford to go to college. Anyone who has the ability and desire should be able to get a college education, regardless of the income of their family.
All of these rights spell security. We must be prepared to move forward in the implementation of these rights to new goals of human happiness and well-being.
We are at a crucial moment in American history, and it is imperative that we organize, that we educate, that we bring people together to create an America that works for all of us.
For unless there is security here at home, there cannot be lasting peace in the world.
What do you think?
Some pretty deep stuff, man. Kanye West should have mixed his stuff though. His ding, ding, ding,
yeah, but 80 years, but, man. 80 years. You believe 80 years between those two gentlemen, and they're both saying the same thing, that we need to make a difference in the people who are underneath the wealth.
I mean, ain't shit changed.
Ain't shit changed.
They just put the lipstick on a pig, and it's still a pig.
I get wait.
Yeah, it's put lipstick on it, man.
You're right.
You ain't fooling me. I'm like, I want to think about it. I didn't experience slavery, but I experienced racism. And if you read books, you can read the racism then compared to now, even though it's just more disguised. You can economic disparity then compared to now. People are getting paid more money, but they're working more hours. I'm like, think about it. Back then, you wasn't getting paid little or nothing. The masters were getting rich. Now you're getting paid more money.
It's the same thing. What's the difference?
Richer.
You know,
they're getting richer.
It's us working in the cotton fields now, but we're just too stupid to realize it.
It's the same thing, man. It ain't changed. But now it's just that now they incorporated Black people, white people, Asian people, Hispanic people. Everybody's incorporated into the cesspool of the New Age slavery, because these companies, he said, they're getting richer and richer. They're exporting. They got jobs out there in China. They really get up on them because they're paying them a little less than what they're paying over here. And then they always kid me how, I created more jobs. How much you paying per hour?
Right.
You create all these jobs, getting paid chips, and you still got to work 67 hours.
And yeah, 60 hours a week, and they're still below the poverty line. How's that happen?
Don't let them put you on salary, because you get salary and you working about almost 80 hours a week, and they still not happy because the conditions are not up to their par since you worked all those hours. Because you said, guys, man, I done been on both spectrums of it, man. It's a ripoff. I'm like, the difference between slavery then and slavery now is nothing.
is basically, it's now that they've introduced whites, Asians, and Mexicans.
Yeah, I'm like, now it's like, we just ain't getting whipped. Everybody getting whipped. You know, and then we bicker amongst each other with this, I'm black, I'm white, I'm Hispanic. Who gives a damn? At the end of the day, we broke.
And think about it. And we talked about that on last week's show, and we're going to get into that a little bit later on in the show, how they want to introduce that fair tax bill where they're going to do 30% tax on sales. Well, that only still helps the rich.
That's true. I'm like, no, and at first I was like, it makes sense, but then you think about it.
It's only putting money in the pocket of the rich.
You convinced me. No, you convinced me. That's a dumb idea, because we are getting our asses kicked. Listen, I'm not even getting on the show on time like I should, because I'm rushing way across town
trying to make a dollar,
survive. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. So I know everybody's getting it. That's what makes it mad about racism, Tim, because they don't get it. Why they looking at the color of my skin? The rich people looking at you like you just another nigga too.
And I don't think people realize it. Yeah, you're more of an economic slave than you are, by color. I can get anybody to work for me in this dump for $10 an hour and bust their ass, and I give them nothing.
Back then, you can say the Africans were slaves. No, now everyone is considered because listen, if you got a company that's exploiting your labor and not helping you live a decent life, if they can go on vacation 5 or 6 times, but you can't go on vacation at all, if their kids can go to all these great schools and they can enjoy all these great perks of life, but you can't enjoy them when you working harder than they are making them their money, then you are officially a slave, and this is how it is.
That is not how I believe the framers thought to design this country.
Yeah, no, Americans, they're not even. What are we making for us now? What are Americans making for us?
Because if you really think about it, there is more. It's almost like you have various a kingdom, and you've got various rulers around, but the rulers happen to be people with all kinds of frickin' cash. And what they say, 6 major corporations holding how much % of the wealth?
Yeah, and what they do is they merged. And that's what you do. You merge. You merge with another company that's a dominant company.
Well, that's when they
bring in more.
And they get together with that other thing you talk about in Europe, where they get together and they have that little group every once.
The conference and everything like that. How can we get more dollars out of these countries?
Country hicks.
But think about it. The crazy part about it is it's not just Americans getting together. Americans are getting together. The rich ones are getting together with the rich ones from overseas, over there, over here. All those rich people all around the world are getting together, and they got this game on the stranglehold, this money thing. And idiots like the people we have on our shoulders in the back of hot U-Hauls and doing this stuff over here and getting ready for this, they shooting each other and fighting for nothing. I'm like, you just doing it, fighting, worry about the wrong people.
Sometimes I think they worry about the wrong thing. And that leads me into our next particular item, and that is cash crop. And what do I mean by that? Well, as you know, a lot of states have legalized cannabis.
Oh.
Check this out.
State governments make a lot of money from legal marijuana. Legal recreational marijuana was on the ballot in 5 states during the most recent midterm elections. Voters in 2 states, Maryland and Missouri, voted yes to the ballot measure, while voters in Arkansas and both North and South Dakota voted it down. For states where marijuana has been legal for a few years, the tax revenue is flowing in. Here's how much money states make from taxes on legal marijuana. Washington State and Oregon were some of the first states in 2012 and 2014 to legalize recreational marijuana. Washington State boasts a relatively high 37% retail excise tax on its weed. California makes the most money from legal marijuana, and it's really not close. It's the largest market in the US for legal pot. Finishing 2021 in third is Illinois, which makes a surprising amount from a relatively immature market. But it's also the only state to tax on potency, so more THC equals a higher tax. Michigan and Nevada both carry a 10% retail excise tax, which sits on the lower end of states, along with the 6% state tax on top of that. Maine follows Michigan and Nevada with a 10% retail excise tax, but only has a weight-based tax after that, which taxes on the plant's leaves, if it's a seed or flower, and the plant's maturity. As the legal marijuana market matures across the nation, it's becoming a reliable moneymaker for state government.
Thoughts? Some of these states are missing out. I mean, you're not going to do away with people who smoke marijuana.
I wish I could smoke, man.
That ain't going to happen. And I'm looking at, the cash they're making, and actually up here in Northwest Ohio, you have to go across the line into Michigan where it's legal. And up in Monroe County, in that particular county, got $2.5 million in revenue itself that they can utilize on roads and streets and improving their fire departments, EMS, all that kind of shit. I mean, and you've got states where obviously either they're having their residents go out of state and or they're getting it illegally without taxation. Now, why are you missing out on this?
Man, I am a weed advocate. I can't say the word
advocate.
Advocate. I don't smoke weed, but I like to be around people that do smoke weed. I can excel the stuff on the side. I don't smoke it, but it does something to my. I just don't mix well. But man, think about it, Tim. What has weed did to? What has weed? Damn it! Alcohol has killed more people, I think, next to cancer and alcohol, and people that have actually had some ailments. Weed is used to subdue some of the pain.
When you think about it,
what I'm saying?
It's used for pain relief. It's an antidepressant. It could be an appetite suppressant. It can be an appetite enhancer. It has various municipal properties that can be utilized. That's why they also utilize the CBDs on the side for various. So it's not like it's a unuseful plant. Besides the fact that if you want to utilize the actual, I want to call it hemp, but hemp's in kind of a different plant. It makes some of the best rope, clothing, paper.
Man, look at the pros and cons. Let's compare weed to crack.
Come on, man.
I don't always do it because a lot of people, they be like weed. Weed got this bad stigma around it, and like being the only brother in the room, like, oh, it's a brother. So what's
selling weed?
Let's compare weed to crack. Compare weed to meth. Compare weed to alcohol. Compare the crime rate with those drugs and other drugs. Compare crime rates. Compare the death, the death toll. Compare all the negativity. Compare to those drugs. Compared to weed. Only thing I've seen a person do when they smoke weed is chill the hell out.
Eat and chill out. I've never seen anybody rage out because they're on weed. I've never seen anybody too high to drive off of weed. They may be because they've had alcohol and some other stuff along with it, but not just off of the weed alone. No, come on now.
But I ain't never heard nobody get killed. Like there was a car accident. What happened? Who was the person? They was high. And they went killed.
He dropped the roach between. He dropped the roach between his legs.
Something like I can understand that. But,
that might happen.
Yeah, but I'm like, you look at the pros and cons of weed. There's too many pros compared to cons. And honestly, I think that since weed has such a negative history compared to how it was, now somehow they want to. They want to capitalize on it, but then again, I think they don't want to contradict themselves at the same time.
Look like a hypocrite. Look like a total hypocrite. But hey, I'm just saying, there's a lot.
It's weed, man.
I mean, we are in a economic situation, and this is another reason you should consider it. I mean, you can control it to adults 21 and older. You can control the THC content so they don't get too buzzed out of their brains. All that, but we are in a situation now in our government around the world that we're economically depressed, and we could use all the resources we could get to make an income.
Man, Tim, we live in a world, in a country that when people find a way to exploit something or somebody to get rich and make money off of it, they usually do it. 99, if they see somebody, hear somebody can sing, what they do, they sign them. If they see somebody can run fast, what they do, they recruit them. If they see somebody can jump high, they recruit them or whatever. They'll find a way to get those people or get that thing within their organization so they can get rich and make money. Why are they worried about weed? Weed has, I'm like,
probably because you and I could go plant it in the side yard and grow 5 or 6 pretty good plants and wouldn't have to worry about anybody else.
You can't control weed, man. Are they thinking that everybody's going to grow it and then they're not going to make money off of it if they make it legal? That's the only thing I can see.
That's the only thing I can see. They got it like that in California. They got it like that in Colorado, and it's still not an issue. Did you see the over $1 billion in taxes in California?
Yeah, and people grow their own weed too. But
yeah, they're doing that too. So I mean, it's not like they're gonna be taking the big kick in the nuts. You're still making money.
They make it like everybody's gonna legalize weed in Texas, and next you know, everything is gonna be weed instead of grass growing and trees growing. It's gonna be weed growing everywhere.
They'll start having that could be your new job. You could be like the cultivational officer for the Dallas-Fort Worth area, going around making sure people taking good
weeds, the weed garden not too
that they're paying. They're paying their growing fee. Like you charge them $10 a year growing some shit. You go around and just be an enforcement agent.
Yeah, you'd be like, hey, you got 1 acre. You're only allowed to grow your weed on a quarter of your acre. You got 2 acres. Cut some of that shit down.
That's right. Or
2 acres of weed is too much.
Or pay up.
But then think about it, this too. If somebody was growing weed, there's gonna be a lot of people stealing it.
Oh yeah,
And that's the crime that will go up. I think the only thing will go up.
My crop theft. crop theft will go up.
Yeah. Crop theft is gonna grow up, and we will have. And I think that'll be I'm dead serious too. I think that'll be the only thing that'll happen because you got people robbing each other for weed now. Imagine if it was legal, you can grow it in your yard. There's gonna be a bunch of people in the hospital getting shot in the ass.
Be wondering what happened to that big old 8-foot plant you had that you was just getting ready to get out there and cut down, trim all up. Gone.
Hey, somebody stole my weed plant. Instead, somebody stole my car.
That's the whole new thing. It's not it's not catalytic converters anymore. It's your weed plant shit.
Weed plant, man. Somebody stole the weed plants. The car's right there. The weed. They ain't gonna
could have took my catalytic converter. Why'd you take my weed plant, man? That was cold blooded.
But it's gonna happen though. So they need to leave weed alone. Weed
anyhow, we'll leave that alone for a while. Yeah, leave weed alone. You children out there. Anyhow. You know about the spring breakers are heading down to Florida, right? Getting ready to have a good time. Oh, yeah. It's going to be great down there, with one exception.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's what I said. Uh-oh. Because apparently, they've got an algae problem.
Florida's sandy shores are in many ways the envy of a nation. But as spring break's heating up, so too are signs of an intense red tide event. Manatee County officials in the Tampa area say they've already cleaned up 7,000 pounds of dead fish in just the last few days.
They were all over the place. They washed up right around here on the shore and they're everywhere.
Officials are using drones to get a better picture of the impact, though for many on vacation here, it doesn't take a bird's eye view to see and feel the devastation.
I feel like I've gotten a little bit of a cough and a little bit ill while I'm here. I didn't even know red tide existed.
That red stain in normally aqua blue waters has visited Florida repeatedly in recent years. Scientists say it comes from a naturally occurring microorganism in the Gulf.
There's just dead fish everywhere.
But when there's enough chemicals or so-called nutrients available, it's like adding fuel to a fire.
And that causes this organism that is typically in very low abundance to basically dominate, and to the point where it produces toxins that leads to fish kills, and obviously that has a human health effect as well.
Dr. Steve Davis is Chief Science Officer for the Everglades Foundation. He says restoring Florida's wetlands can help filter polluted water and reduce red tide. For this year's spring break revelers, the algae is already having an impact. A popular fundraiser in Indian Rocks Beach was canceled a month out.
We can't take the chance to put all the security deposits down and then at the last minute have to pull the plug.
Now, many who just want a spot in the sun and their feet in the sand are dealing with a persistent environmental issue that literally has them seeing red.
And if there is a silver lining to all of this, both state and federal officials have been making record investments in restoring the Everglades to help deal with this red tide crisis. So
hey, leave it to man to screw things up. Isn't that horrible? I can't hear you, Larry. I think you're on mute.
There you go. My bad.
There you go, brother.
I would do that. Now, 3 things I saw, man. Check this out, man. For one thing, they said that one guy, he said, I feel kind of sick. The little skinny dude, white guy, he need to eat something. Little bony ass.
That too, yeah.
Eat food. Another thing, they were saying that they spending all this money to restore the Everglades because of the environmental damage. Bull crap. They doing that. They spending that money because they're losing money in Florida because of tourists and stuff like that. That's why they invest the money. Now they want to invest money to fix something that they knew already was happening. Now it's gotten worse. So now they want to fix it because they're losing money from tourism. Cap. It's a bunch of crap, man.
Well, think about it. When you encroach, and we talk about this when people are subjected to forest fires. We talk about this when people are subjected to the waves and hurricanes coming in off the ocean and your home gets swept away because you're on the beach. If you put yourself in a particular environment, you're going to manipulate the environment as they did by putting in roadways and Lord knows what else, you're going to have a reaction.
Yeah. Pollution too. I'm like,
I mean, don't be surprised that, why do we have all these particular problems? Why are we having landslides and stuff? Because you're cutting into the side of this mountain. Now there's nothing to stop it. So, yeah.
Man, when you toy with Mother Nature strikes back 10 times harder what I've seen. You do not want to do, and that's human nature, to go move in somewhere and stay there and dominate. And that's just how we are as people. And it's just all people in general. We nomads and we set up and we build and we create civilizations and cultures, not civilizations basically. And this is how we are. And then we destroy anything in its path. And then when it comes back at us, what happened? You destroyed all the trees. I'm like, you killed all the habitat, all the natural habitat. Now there's nothing to protect that from that. And this and this, what's going to protect them from us, or us from them. So,
and you think about it, those things are probably in place. I mean, it's not like global warming is anything new, because you've learned that the Earth is heated up and cooled off over millions of years, right? So you would think, but I'm sure that once you take away that balance, as you had just mentioned, when you start getting the warm up again, well, that balance is no longer there to compensate as it should have to begin with. Now you're going to get all this algae coming up, and it's going to affect you, man. I mean, yeah, maybe skinny dude needs to go and get a hamburger, but...
he was like, I'm coughing. I said, man, if you don't get your bony heads off the tongue, I'm coughing, I feel sick. Yeah, because you need to eat, bro.
And he was on TV, so,
He only going to get the skinniest, boniest dude. I'm glad it wasn't a brother. That's all I'm saying. I'm glad he getting a little bony brother and put him on there. Yeah. He got it wasn't one of my...
I'll tell you what, man. Anyhow, yeah, it's surprising what we do. And I don't know, and I wonder what what's really, I thought before we go on to the next thing, I'm like, it's kind of sad that, now that you've had all these particular incidences that are happening down in Mexico, we had the 4 kids that got kidnapped and 2 of them got killed. Now you had another incident down there.
Oh, they got some black people finally.
Just the other day. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got hold to some brothers.
And so now they've got all this, do not visit type things. And now you got Florida, all FUBAR because, red tides are, so gotta be real interesting over spring break, see where the kids decide to go.
They might go to Lake Havasu in Arizona, I think. That's another big spot. I'm surprised it's not in the news yet.
Why? What's happening at Lake Havasu?
No, that's another big spring break spot for like the teenagers and college kids.
Yeah, maybe
put their boats, but
because if I was on thinking about spring break, those 2 just got checked off the list.
Right, and then one dude they had on TV, he needs to call me so I can put some weight on him. He needs a trainer.
Okay, so if that young gentleman that is sick because of the red tide and should be eating hamburgers, you call Larry in LRE Fitness. He'll get you fit.
Some muscles on you.
There's a quick plug. Anyhow, you remember, I think it was last week. Yeah. Last week when we were talking about the fair tax bill and that 30% tax, we had Steve Forbes, played a Steve Forbes video. Steve was talking a little bit about, well, geez, that was before you had the Silicon Valley Bank collapse the other day. And yeah, you know about this, right? Silicon
I
Valley.
heard something about it.
Yeah.
Reading into it real deep.
Yeah, that's going to be real interesting because they're going to be looking at the president on down, and the investors are pissed because what do they know? They just closed the door now. We'll get into that. But in any regards.
And that's an investment. You don't get your investments back. You can get a loan back, but you don't get investments back.
Let's check this out. Let's listen to what Steve had to say because that's not the only bank that's having some
Two
issues.
big bank failures are roiling the financial market. But here's why more trouble is coming. Hello, I'm Steve Forbes, and this is What's Ahead, where you get the insights you need to better navigate these turbulent times. The sudden, sensational collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, SVB, which had assets of over $200 billion, hit financial markets like an earthquake. Worries grow about the solvency of other banks, a fear fueled as a second large bank was shuttered on Sunday. Yes, these institutions made their particular mistakes, and this will be true of other enterprises, financial and commercial, that will be failing in coming months. But there is a far larger issue here. The blame for this mess lies squarely with the Federal Reserve and other central banks. Their big blunder, suppressing interest rates for years after the financial crisis of 2008-2009. With the connivance of their finance ministries, in America's case the Treasury Department, and to the applause of too many politicians, the Fed and its fellow central bankers knocked down long-term rates by binge buying government bonds as well as mortgages, and in some cases, other assets as well. For a while, interest rates in many places went negative. Never in human history had the cost of borrowing money been so low. But as economists should have known, suppressing the price of something distorts the marketplace. Former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers once remarked, perhaps indelicately, that there are two ways to destroy a city. One is bombing it, the other is to impose rent controls, which wrecks a normal housing market. What the Fed, the Bank of Japan, the Bank of England, and the European Central Bank did was to impose the equivalent of rent controls on the credit markets by purchasing trillions of dollars worth of debt securities. Countries' debts exploded. Politicians love being able to spend, and the cost of doing so not going up. It would be like a consumer putting $10,000 on his credit card and the monthly payments go down. Countless companies that could took on lots of debt. Then with the pandemic came an orgy of spending and corresponding money printing. But even before COVID-19, central banks were printing a lot of money. The combination of lockdowns and easy money set off a sensational and politically unpopular surge in prices, an inevitable but unanticipated escalation of inflation as central banks raising interest rates. Numerous companies borrowed more than they should have when the cost of money was ultra cheap. Some banks find themselves loaded with low-yielding loans and securities. That's why you should expect more disasters. For almost a whole generation, artificially low rates had people scrambling to get higher yields, taking on real risk. The solution is for governments to get their economies growing again, i.e., cutting tax rates, reducing regulations, curbing spending, and stabilizing the value of their currencies. All the things that the Biden administration and other governments are not doing.
I guess the dollar's not worth shit no more, basically.
Well, it reminds me of what the 1940s when they did or the 30s when they had the run on the banks and they just ran out of money and then people were, that's what they're telling these people now. But fortunately, they're a federally insured bank, so people, I'm trying to think what it is, like $15,000 or less, they'll be able to get the federal insurance, will pay them back. So if you have anything over
investment.
No. If you had a deposit in that bank.
Oh, I was going to say, because you don't get.
So let's say you do banking with Silicon Valley Bank, and you've got $30,000 in that bank, and they locked the doors the other day. You can't get in. You can't access your account in any way. You can't go in. You can't access it electronically. No way. But And then the federal the federal banks come in and they seize control. And what they'll do though is they will guarantee you, because it's an insured bank. That's why you see that logo on the outside of the bank.
Right.
You'll get a portion. I think it's $15,000 back, and that's it. Some of these people can be out lots of money.
But that's like you said, the power. I thought there were some investments, because usually what I know from
the bank investing. The bank made bad investments with the people's money. So what they do is they take your deposit, right? So your money that's sitting in the bank, and they're investing it around in different bull. And obviously that didn't pay off, so they weren't able to meet. It wasn't balanced. They were in debt more than they were able to actually pay the people of the bank. Depositors.
What are you talking about? Yeah. So basically, if you put $500 in the bank, and that's your money.
Mm-hmm.
So with the $500 that you have in the bank, they're taking portions of that money and investing it into different corporations or whatever, just to make the bank more money.
Right. I mean, that's all part of it. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you get
you can still get it at any time, but they're actually utilizing the money you put in there.
Yeah, but even your IRAs and all that, when they say you get 5% interest back in your IRA, that's from the investments you make. So they're saying that you're going to get this back if the investment goes right. But they basically jacked up. They made a bad mistake and made the bad investments. So no one is getting no money whatsoever. All their money is gone. You're not getting no IRAs, no Roth, nothing like that. You're not getting any kind of money back whatsoever. They lost it all.
No, but what they're looking at is it just so happened that some of the executives within the bank had recently sold off some of their stock just prior to the closing of the bank, and they don't know if that's coincident or not. And also, all the employees got their Christmas bonuses early.
Because that's people in nature. That's what they do. The people up top that controls the money. Politicians do the same thing. The government does the same thing. I've never seen a broke politician. I've never seen a broke bank CEO. They do stuff with people's money, and they have their way with people's money. That's just how it is. And they just make some bad investments, and they didn't care. They didn't care about the consumer.
But you know what? If in fact that's true, that they actually knew that the bank was going under and they sold that stock knowing that's insider trading, and they're going to prison.
Is that will it be considered fraud or something?
Yeah.
Of theft of
come on, it's insider trading. You got rid of the stock and you already knew it was going to be a worthless pile of shit.
Which is somebody else's money.
That was your investment. You invested. You had $100,000 in the place, as an example, and you know that you're not going to have jack shit tomorrow, so I'm going to sell it off because I'm on the inside. You and I've been talking. You know we're going under. Yeah, let's get rid of our stock. Okay, you can't do that.
They do it.
Well, they do it, and they might get caught on this one. So it'll be interesting to see. And in other words, I can't think of what the other bank was in Europe that's having the same issue. But anyhow,
They're all connected.
Somehow, some way. Let's get on to one of Larry's favorite parts of the show. The asshole of the weekend. Who might that be? Well, it's just about time to find out.
A confrontation between a pizza vendor and a DoorDash driver got dangerous when one of them pulled out pepper spray. It happened at a pizza shop in Nashville. The victim has asked to remain anonymous, but he says a lot of scammers have been posing as delivery drivers.
So I asked her just confirm the order before we hand you the food. And she did not want to do that. So she pulls her phone and she shows me a black screen. Nothing. I was like, this is a black screen. I need to see the order. I need you to confirm it. That's when she went outraged.
He says he took the food back until she showed him the order number. The victim says the woman did prove she was there to pick up a DoorDash order, but she was visibly upset when she left the store, knocking some counter items to the ground. The victim says he thought that was the end of it until she came back into the store with a man.
Guy wasn't that bad. He just asked why you disrespected my lady. I was like, I just asked to confirm the order. That's all. The next thing I know, boom, mace in my eye.
The victim says it took 45 minutes for paramedics to flush his eyes. Days later, he says they still burn. He says he reported the incident to DoorDash, which offered to give her information to police. A spokesperson for DoorDash released this statement. DoorDash does not tolerate violence of any kind, and the perpetrator has been permanently removed from our platform. We have been in direct contact with this establishment and stand ready to assist law enforcement however we can. He may have suffered for it, but the victim says restaurants need to screen for scams.
If this theft keep going on, then they're going to have to increase their rates because they're paying for it. And they're not in the business to lose money. They're in the business to make money. And so all of this loss is going to be passed on to the restaurant.
Nashville police say they are investigating this case as a simple assault, but no arrests have been made.
Is that cold-blooded?
Yeah.
So she's
That's crazy, man.
Why? I don't understand these DoorDash drivers.
And that, he has a small business, so those small businesses, they ain't playing that crap.
I understand that. I went to a sandwich shop. I ain't gonna say the name, but they're not paying us to say their names on our podcast. But they just set the food right there by the door. Right.
A couple of places you can just walk in, grab something, and walk out.
And I think that's probably what happened, and a lot of these businesses lost their hiney. Is you think about there's two things that happens to them. Obviously, a person can come in and just sounds good to me and walk out, right?
Yeah, they don't even.
They didn't even check. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. A lot of restaurants operated in that particular way. And then the other thing is, then I'm going to cancel my order or change my mind. So you've got food sitting there. So either way, it's a huge expense for these owners. And I understand what was wrong with him saying, excuse me, can you prove it?
Yeah, he saw a black screen. I'm like, you can't show nobody no black screen.
Yeah, I don't understand what her big freaking issue was.
The guy came in with the whole face mask thing on. You should have knew something was going to pop off.
Now, that was a whole different situation.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, hell no. What you doing this hot? How you going to have on a face mask like that with shorts?
Pandemic, man. Pandemic.
So it's not cold outside, so why you got a ski mask on, bro?
Pandemic, brother. Pandemic.
No, that's get sprayed in the face. It's
pan crazy.
up,
Hey, you know what? We got a couple minutes. Let's do one more. And I wanted to show this and probably we can do one more asshole award. Actually, I had a runner up. And here we go. Check this out.
Moody, I understand that you've offered your resignation. Is that correct?
Can I get fired?
Have you offered your resignation or not?
If I can keep my job, then no.
Well, you can't keep your job, okay? So let me just make it easy. You're fired. You're no longer an employee here. You understand?
Yes, sir.
You've betrayed the trust of every citizen that we have the privilege to serve, and you've betrayed the trust of the brave and selfless men and women that you've worked alongside for nearly 3 years. So as of this moment, you're under arrest for bringing a prohibited item, a cell phone, into a correctional facility. That's a third-degree felony. Do you have any questions about that?
No, sir.
Well, you're going to be cuffed. First thing I want you to do is stand up and take that uniform shirt off. You don't deserve to wear it.
Shit.
And that's just being a dumbass, sneaking a cell phone into a jail and a prison facility. I mean, like,
you know how he got caught? The person he snuck it in told on him. That should have been an asshole. The person that snitched on him.
Somebody that snitched. Where'd you get that cell phone? From the deputy.
A lot of people don't know. I know some homeboys or correction officers that have done that a lot of times. And every time somebody's gotten caught, the person that told the warden that told the other person was the inmate.
Yep, gonna snitch out. Yep, and that's
The
all for a
inmates
favor.
They ain't got nothing to do. Yes, they was snitch on a correction officer, on the officer, they will snitch on you. So if anybody out there works in corrections, do not bring them fools anything because they're going to tell on you.
Well, think about this. Hey, you know, I can move you out of D pod and over into A pod, which is minimum housing, Larry. If you kind of work this stuff out with me and help me get to the bottom of this particular problem. You're thinking,
that's what they do.
Okay,
yeah,
shoot.
That's what they do. I'm okay. This officer, they ain't got nothing to do. Especially if they finna get jumped or stabbed or whatever happened in prison, or if you made them a promise. If you made them a promise and then fulfill your promise, then you get it. They're gonna tell on you.
Yeah, it could have been something else. And once he gave up one phone, let's say he gave up one phone, and hey, if you don't give me another phone, I'm gonna tell on you.
Yeah,
because the inmate knows. Think how much money they can make off of a cell phone in prison.
Man, the biggest snitches, that's why they're in jail. The biggest snitches and telltales and crooks are in prison, other than the politicians and the used car salesmen and people like that. They ain't in prison. But those, when they get in there, they will snitch on you and tell on you. A lot of them belong there. Some of them made some bad mistakes. A lot of them didn't do what they in prison for not doing what they got accused for, but a majority of them are in there because they belong there. Not forever. You should get rehab, but if you're not gonna rehab or you don't want the rehab, you belong there and you stay there.
Anyhow, hey brother, we are at the end of our show. Let me get you all zoomed up here. Wow, there's Larry E. Anyhow, hey, let me get your camera down a bit. I'll get you down, brother. Hang on. You got it? Okay. Hang on.
Went up. There you go. Hey, okay, check this out, man. Y'all can follow me on Instagram, IG, Estelle Junior Larry. Slow it down, Estelle Junior Larry. And also Instagram, LRE Fitness Solutions. We keep you moving. Then jump over to Facebook, Estelle Junior Larry. Also LRE Fitness Solutions. We keep you moving. This is my tip for the week. And like I say, when I do a lot of tips, I don't do a lot of weightlifting tips because weightlifting is weightlifting and cardio is cardio. It is what it is. You can figure out what you want to do cardio-wise or weightlifting-wise. It's the same thing, 30 minutes to an hour. When you're lifting for cardio or whatever, decide what you want to do. Lifting weights is lifting weights, sets, reps. It's all the same. But my tip is this. When you figure out what kind of cardio that you want to do, and when you figure out what kind of program you're going to get on, whether it's weightlifting, whether it's heavyweight or strength training, or whether it's endurance or whether it's skills, pretty much sprinting and stuff like that. Whatever you decide to do, get you a workout, motivational workout music. Find you a playlist that's going to keep you motivated and keep you active and keep you strong and keep you going the whole time. So you decide what your workout goal is going to be, and then you find some music to back it up. So you need the goal, cardio, weight training, then you need the music, the motivational playlist to keep you going. That's my tip. LRE Fitness Solutions, Facebook, Instagram. Follow me.
Oh,
I say Tim disappeared.
Tim disappeared. He'll keep you moving. Anyhow, that's funny. Hey, you know what? I like. And the other tip that Larry gave you earlier was don't work out to that music that was playing in our one video about FDR and Bernie. So that was they needed to do a remix on that, right?
Yeah, they need to get to Kanye West. So we can,
Kanye, you need to help us out on this video. It's a slick video, but hey, you need a little work.
Music was sad,
you know. Hey, anyhow, I like to say a couple of words that make sense to everybody and ponder your mind a little bit. But the truth will set you free, but first it's going to piss you off. Believe that? And life is too short to waste any amount of time on wondering what other people think about you. In the first place, if they had better things going on in their lives, they wouldn't have the time to sit around to talk about you. What's important to me is not others' opinion of me, but what's important to me is my opinion of myself. And
said.
That's right. The unhappiest people in the world are those who care the most about what other people think about them.
You ain't lying.
And those are a little bit of food for thought.
Yeah.
To go
work out,
man.
people. Exercise.
Love yourself. Love yourself.
If you love yourself, you're gonna exercise. You're gonna feed that mind, body, and soul. Read some books. Get some education. Go out there. Experience life.
Yep, because if you don't love yourself, you're not going to be able to be loved by others, and it's going to show, man. Embrace yourself. We each have a unique gift. Larry just happens to be able to help you find your physical fitness core.
And real quick, Tim.
Yes, sir.
A lot of trainers will put emphasis on weightlifting and doing a lot of cardio, but it's bigger than lifting weights and doing a lot of cardio. You got to plan it. You got to have a plan. You got to have all kinds of stuff incorporated into lifting weights and doing the cardio. It's bigger than that. It's a whole mind and body and soul thing. So don't just focus on lifting weights and running because you're going to get bored. Add stuff.
Yeah, you got to do a little bit of something different once in a while.
Music,
just to mix it on up.
Yeah. The main thing, music and people will change your whole workout. Music and people.
Hell, jump rope for a while. That's one of the better things you could ever do. Just sit there with a jump rope for a while.
Yeah. But no, well, you got to find something you like, though. Don't get me wrong. That's why I say you shouldn't change it up too much where you're hurting yourself or you're outside of your comfort zone.
Blowing out a knee and ankle
you
and
like
stuff.
And just but change up your routine and make sure you hang around people you can have conversations with like Tim. Find guys or men and women you can walk with and you can conversate and they can tell you wisdom. You can talk about good things in life.
That's
now,
right.
Don't talk about people. Talk about life.
Talk about
itself.
the good things. Yep, it has to be a cleansing experience when you're working out and doing yourself right. Keep the negativity out of it. You're right, brother.
Yeah, so there you go. We're giving you mind, body, and soul, baby. That's how we do.
That's how we roll. Anyhow, hey, you know what? Until next week, we got to get so out of here. Peace, man.